This doesn't look right. That, we should do that. What's up? We good? I think so. Not that window. This window? Yay, we live. How you doing? So today, we're gonna flip this. Mirror your video. We've got a Subaru. We're gonna be doing all the sides, the rear, in carbon, and then we're gonna throw a windshield strip on the front. I think I'm gonna start off with just getting the quarters out of the way, and then we'll do the roll down windows. My headphones, that's what I forgot. Oh, that's potentially really bad. Let's do sound. No, I do have them. All right, so if I take this out, I'm gonna put this back in. We're gonna flip through that. We're gonna connect TikTok. We're gonna connect YouTubes. All right, chat. Let me know if everything's working. Say what up. And then we should be, hey, it does work. Good, okay, so we're gonna get started. I got some film already loaded into the plotter here. So we got front quarters all ready to go. Hopefully they fit. It's 2015 to 2021. And we're just gonna let it do its thing. And this is when everything goes to shit. It works. Good. Good, glad to hear it. I'm watching a WRX build right now. Nice, good timing, right? Been a while. Mm-hmm. Back to school has been slow for us. But we're working on stuff in the meantime, which is good, because we actually really needed that time. Is that a workhorse too? I've got a workhorse too right there. This, what cut it out, is a Graphtec. So we're gonna be doing 35. Where'd you get the floor tiles? That's from Race Deck. That's their free flow system. Ooh, that's nice. We'll start off with the most annoying windows, because there's nothing wrong with that. Do you have any issues with the patterns being too long on core? No, not yet. We'll run into like your occasional pattern issue. I don't really use it a ton yet, so we'll mainly use it for like what I would consider the like for sure safe windows, which is usually back windows and quarters, and then I'm warming up to using it a little bit more for doors. But quarter windows, especially on a car like this, they're more tedious to cut out. So we'll see if they did a nice job on those front quarter window patterns. Thanks a lot for help with your videos. Did my tint job with no problems. Hell yeah. Nice. Can you explain dot matrix and why is the vinyl for it so expensive? Is it? Like Dotrix? I haven't had to buy Dotrix in a long time. What's the price on it? Because that's the vinyl that I use. Can you tell me what the current price is for it? Where'd you get the door panel covers? Our store, so 313tint.com. So on these quarters, I'm gonna use an extra soapy bottle of water. Is it a manual? It is. I got panel ones from Lowe's, but they barely stick. Yeah, that's why we have panel guard. A lot of tapes don't stick very well to the door panels. Even panel guard could be better. We're gonna put a little extra soap in this too. So 1/4 ounce would be fine in a 32 ounce bottle. I'll just go for like a 1/2 ounce here. I want this to be extra slidey. Where'd you get the roll of plastic? 313tint.com. Our supply store. We sell them too in the TikTok shop, I think. But yeah, there's honestly not a lot that stick very well to the door panel, and some of it depends on the door panel. I'm pretty sure the reason it's like that. Do I have more cards here? Good, I got a lot more cards here. Let's just take these and put these there for a minute. I thought it was $2.75. Oh, for a Doctrix roll? That's a little pricey. The good news is you get a ton of use out of it. So you generally will get out of a Doctrix roll, you'll get a section on a 20, like it's like a 20 or 24 inch roll. So you usually get like 2 dot strips for 1 roll, which is really nice. And we used to charge for it. We used to charge like at least like 50, like the price of a windshield strip. So we would make quite a bit of money back on that roll. We wouldn't just comp it. But now we don't really do a lot of those. So if I ever run into an issue with the dot matrix, it's generally cars from like 2010. Then we'll take, or we'll charge, or we'll just do it for free. Like I just had a Corvette not long ago, and I just kind of like, I mean, it was a lot to do the car, but that was part of it, in my opinion. Just started using flat out yellow squeegee. It's the best in my opinion for stalling, or for installing. Yeah, I really like the flat out. Oh, by the way, where did my squeegee blade go? There's a new kid on the block for squeegee blades. Tri-Edge came out with a squeegee blade that's gonna be very similar in hardness to that flat out. So I'll be using this some today. Isn't it painter's plastic? So yeah, the plastic drop is just like a painter's plastic, but the tape is different. So this is the same tape that we use for the seal guards. You need something with a lot more bite to it. And your regular painter's tape just doesn't have that same bite to it. What's this? What's the tri-edges for? Just for trying to give me a little bit of extra space in the gasket. It slips in my mind. This happens to me every time I do these cars. I want to put like a little window spline in the window or a wire, and then I forget where I put it. It's like somewhere around here. I was looking, but I got distracted. Did you kill Harry Paul? Yeah, with Voldemort over there. He hasn't gotten used in a while. Let me make sure I got my easy reach too, because that would be a mistake if I don't got one of those on hand. Really? I need an easy reach. You guys see how well I keep cabinets? Let's go get one. Ooh, let's try a blue frog. I haven't used a blue frog in a while. I did my own window tint, cut the bottom before I rolled the window up. Looks great. Nice. Did a windshield yesterday. I charged them $120. What do you think of that? Pricing's always different all over the place. Whatever you got to do to get some opportunities is totally fine. And then you can always raise it. I mean, when I first opened, I was like $130 to do a windshield. Now we start them at like $150. $120 is totally fine. It's a really nice thing to add on. So like if you do the rest of the car for like $250 or whatever, then another like $120 for a windshield, really bumps up your ticket. What are your thoughts on Autobahn film? I haven't seen it in person, but I hear good things. He thought the full car would be $120. $120 for a full car is very cheap. I wouldn't do any full cars for that. We get full cars for $200 to $250. Dang. It's cheap. Everywhere is different though. And like pricing is always really hotly debated. There's places around here that'll do it for real cheap. I think I could even pull up their their website. But I don't want to do jobs for that. We take a little more time on everything and try and make sure it's extra special. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Where are you located? Sterling Heights. Detroit Tint Studio. Pay $400 for a full car, including a windshield, premium 5% ceramic tint, lifetime warranty. Dang. Definitely cheap. But what I say is if you're happy with the product and service that you're getting, then that's great. Cool. Working on my new mini stepper. Nice. I'm getting a mini stepper workout right now. Just running around the car a bunch of times. Do you travel? Kinda. Every once in a while we go to the Philippines. Yeah, right here we got a little hair, and then we got a little speck right there. Is that little squeegee on the TikTok shop? No, that's gonna be on our main site. I'm gonna cut out a new piece. And then we're gonna restick it. Why spend $400 when I can spend $400 and failed tint make it look worse? How do you limit specs? Some of it's cleaning, some of it's just tries. So the thing about these quarter windows is that there's a lot of dirt trapped behind here. And it's tricky to get this piece inside the gasket without trying to get any dirt. Roll downs for me are way quicker. These quarter windows, always a little frustrating. So I think one of the most annoying things is just when your film sticks, it just doesn't want to slide. So we put a little extra, there we go. And then it's just like, we want to get this in place as quick as possible. And then once it's like that, we don't want to disturb it. So on my first pattern, I had to push it around a little bit more. I think this is perfect. This is where it should be. We're using tint slip. So it's really easy to get a little light gap right in here. And then from the outside, you want it to tuck into that seal so you don't, have any light gaps there. There we go. So for like such a small, simple window, these ones are always gonna take me longer. Just don't like doing them. But once you do one side, you still got the other side to do. And then we got back quarters. So what's fun about this is we have this quarter window to do. We have basically the same style here on the back. So you got 4 of these, 1 for each door. Annoying. It's so annoying. Best way to hand cut those templates. Yeah, you can do templates. I'll generally just do it right on the car. Okay, so we need the rear quarter windows, and then we need the back glass because we can tint that out or cut that all up together. So add, go to our cut board. This is a 36. Oh, we can't. That's too, we need a 40 to do that. So it looks like there's no point in doing that right now. And then I could probably get 1 extra try on here. So we'll duplicate that and pop it up there. This is core. And then we'll click cut. And then let it do its thing. I don't know why it goes black on this computer. Sometimes it does. You click cut and everything just looks like it's shut off. But I think we'll do the other quarter window first. And then we'll come back and do the rear ones. And then the doors. And then the back glass. And the doors will take me less time than the rest of it. But we should get some of these cards in here too. Currently doing a 96 NSX. Oof. Anything like pre-2000, especially like when you get into the more fun cars. I'd have to look it up. I could not tell you exactly what that one's like. Honestly, it doesn't sound like it'd be super fun, which means that it's difficult. So we'll wedge a few cards in here. Just try and open this seal up a little bit more. But you can take a, like I said, I don't remember where it is, which is my bad. But you can take a like a 10 gauge wire or window spline and work it in there and just leave it in there. And it'll kind of open up the seal just enough so you can tuck in the film without it wedging. Does how you cut the tint affect how it lays? Kinda. You gotta just keep in mind that you have, you know, a border. And so like on the back window, you wanna go just past the edge of that window. So it's usually like 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Same goes for doors. You don't really wanna tuck too far into the seal, but if you were to like drag your tint all the way to here, it's gonna be considered too wide. Because when you try and get everything to like smooth out, it's just gonna bunch up. Because the film is literally butting into like the paneling. So you just wanna make sure your patterns are cut to the right size. Good. What year is this? 21? I think it's 21. What camera are you using? Just an iPhone. Okay, so what do we need? We need our pattern. How do you use an iPhone? I mean, you can just go on TikTok and go live, and then you put it on a neck mount. Oh yeah, razor. What's the setup on your phone? The setup is a little elaborate for me because like you guys are over here. So this phone is sending it to a thing that's in here, and then it splits the video signal to there, and then also to here. Where have you been? I've been here. This hasn't been super busy lately, and we're working on software right now. And software is boring to go live with. Any tips for hand cutting Silverado sunroofs? No, not really. Cutting sunroofs is just annoying. I couldn't tell you exactly what the Silverado sunroof is like, but I know the tighter all your cuts are, the better it's going to be because they usually don't give you much space. Have you ever worked with flex film? Yeah, we used them in the past. Not a big fan. How many times do you use a razor blade? Good question. I almost always use a razor blade on the roll down windows and on the quarter windows, and then I'll use it on like the inside of the windshield before I install the film. Thank you, Subaru, for at least giving us this bottom seal that pulls back very easily, and then it'll allow me to lower this and flatten it out, right? And then we cross our fingers that we can just scoot it up into place. There. Let's go check it out from the outside. Nice. That's better. Would an extra roller tent work well as a slip inside? It would. Very good. So I use an extra slick bottle for windows like these just to hopefully not stick the film. So when I squeegee it out, I'm gonna be a little bit more careful. You wanna make sure that it grabs because it very easily can just start to move around until it's really locked. Still have trouble splitting the liner. Any recommendations? Practice. You can use your teeth or you can use a fingernail. Grab a bunch of little pieces, like little squares, and just practice. That looks good. I like that. That one went easier. Probably because we knew what we were doing when we came to this side. So now we got our rears. Wind coasts. I don't know much about them, other than they're owned by Matico. They're produced in Japan, and it's, oh man, their film is thick, very different. And supposedly, it used to be thicker, but a rep at the time shipped a roll here, and I put it on a door window. The color was like a little blue, but very clear, looked great. It was just very thick and very, almost like rubbery feeling. But it was, turned out fine, just like completely different from what I thought it would be. Nice job, thank you. My 3M hard card scratched my tint. I wouldn't use hard cards on tint really at all. Hard cards are made for like shrinking. So you could use like a tri-edge card. But some plastics, they're just too hard and they're likely to scratch. But yeah, you could try sanding it. I tend to just buy new ones, but. All right, let's see. Is that for this one? No, that's gonna be for the other side, I think. Yeah, that looks right. So that's for this one. Cool. Stay. Which means this one here, it's gonna be for this one. What are you doing? Oh no, what are you doing? Are you reading what we're saying? Psychic. Have you tried to use solar free? I get asked about them more than I would think. But no, I've never used them. They're like one of those C-tier brands. Oh yeah, while we're over here, we can do that with this one too, huh? Is Dawn a good solution for this? I wouldn't use dish soaps. I was gonna sub, now I'm not. Oh, so sad. It's alright, we'll shut it down. door panel cover. What soap would you use? This stay. There we go. This one. Tint slip. This stuff's awesome. Why don't you compete anymore? I know. Why don't I compete? Why don't I go to events? I have kids. And so they're at the age where it's hard to go anywhere. You didn't answer my question. And I said, I don't know what you're doing. In a butthole tone. Damn those butthole tones. Were you just shrinking that on the board? Mm-hmm. Yep, we did a little shrink on it. Any tips that keep... Oh, when the tint keeps slipping out of my hands when installing it. I know that can happen. I don't... So, like, you're either going to grab the tips of the film, which I tend to not like doing because I don't want to try and put little fingerprint dirt specks. But you could either do that, or whenever you pick it up, you have to support it from, like, the center. So if you're installing a door, you got to make sure it's on your fingertips in the center of it, so it's evenly balanced. Oh yeah, here's my blade. We'll leave one on each side and trying to remember that. We're gonna buy that panel cover. 313tint.com. I got 1% tint on my windows. It's impossible to drive at night. Yeah. It sounds about right. You decided to block out 99% of the visible light. So, yeah. There you go. The more you know. How long did it take you to get where you are now with tinting? I've been doing this for 16 years. And this place didn't look like this until this year. So, that many years. It doesn't take that long for everybody. I just didn't want to shop, and I had a lot of, I didn't know what I was doing. I focused a lot more on, like, videos and stuff like that, not so much trying to grow an actual tint shop. It's kind of nice when you only have one focus, like, I'm going to just do a tint shop, and then you just put everything into doing a tint shop. I have a tint shop. I have a retail store. I have an online social media thing. Dude, I'm all over the place. I can't stay in one place for too long. I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Is GOC2 good for starters? Ceramic? I don't think ceramic. Like, okay. Ceramic doesn't need to be a starter film at all. So, like, it's the same thing with more heat block. So when you're starting, you just need the most cost-effective way to learn. And so out of GeoShield films, Pro Classic is going to be the most cost-effective, and it looks awesome. If you have a vehicle that's tinted in C2 and one that's tinted in Pro Classic, you're like, we'd have to tell you which one is which for you to know. Because visually they're going to be not identical, but they're both going to be really damn good. Where's the smoke for super chats? Oh, did we get a super chat? I don't know. I restarted everything, but it's not surprising if it doesn't work, but they are on. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the 2. Super chats on YouTube are for the fog machines are like $5 because people kept doing $1. So I had to set them at something. But I'll do the fog for you. We got to see if it works. This. Ready, set. Hey! They work still. Thank you, I appreciate it. Smells a little dusty. Well, this is cool. This quarter window turned out great. Should we do the... What do you think? Should we do the plotter for the front doors as well and just see how they work?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll do it.
People want it.
I don't know what people want. All right, so let's get rid of these.
Now everyone's going to say, why are you using the plotter?
Well, why don't you hand cut anymore? All right, 3, 2, 1. It's been doing good. So we'll see what this is like for the front doors. This is actually a really good car to try it on. It's a big ass garage. It is. It's not huge, but with the upstairs, we're 4,000 square feet now. What do you think about the workhorse plotter? I think it's the best budget machine. I would get the Workhorse 1 over the Workhorse 2, though. Visually, the Workhorse 2 just looks better. What's the difference between the Workhorse 2 and the Workhorse 1? I had the Workhorse 1, and then later on got a Workhorse 2. The difference is stuff that you wouldn't really know if you didn't have the other machine beforehand. So on the Workhorse 1, the plotter sits up higher from the catch basket by about that much. And so when the film drops into the catch basket, it doesn't crinkle near as much. The catch basket is just not great. So I'll often just drop the catch basket on the floor. And then I think the one redeeming feature about this versus the Workhorse 1 is there's a little cut groove up here, where on the Workhorse 1 it's like way down here, and I don't know why it's way down there. So after you cut a piece of film, you need to slice it off the machine. But the Workhorse 1 is also cheaper, and the cuts are going to be identical. So like spending the extra on it, you're not really getting any extra features. You're just getting like a nicer looking machine. I wonder where they're at with the Workhorse 3. They're building a machine from the ground up, designed for window tinting and film, so it's basically gonna undercut every machine. Like they're doing like a air system, they're doing an extended roller, I think they're doing like an auto start and then presets. So basically all the features from a better machine, like the creature comfort features, they're baking into those machines pretty soon. Other than like sheer build quality, there's going to be not much reason to upgrade. What film are you using? We are using 35% C2. Look, you see how dark it looks here on the board? When we lift it, Look how fucking light that looks on camera. What? Why are you hand cutting? I thought the machine does it for you. So the machine will trace out the pattern, but you still need to weed it. So you have to cut it with this clear liner. And so that's all attached in one sheet. So if you've ever seen vinyl graphics, they have like they're all cut out, and then you peel away like you weed the pattern, which is peeling away all the edges, because they have that backing sheet. So the clear liner is the backing sheet that we can't cut through until our pattern is all traced out. Do you use regular dyed films? I use premium dyed films. But that's one of the films that I have. So Pro Classic is a deep dye color stable film, which is a fancy way of saying it's a dyed film that's not going to change colors on you, or guaranteed to. If it does, it's backed by a replacement warranty. With Fusion All-Type, do you use 1 or 1.5 ounces? With Fusion All-Type, I could use 4 or 5 ounces and it still wasn't enough. There's just different films have different glues and react differently to different glues. So with both, slime and Fusion All-Type, they would both stick really aggressively. We had to go through multiple iterations of tint slip, and I just kept saying, you just need to make this stronger. Because every time I used it, they're like, it should be pretty strong. It's like, more. And so it's at the point where it's really strong. It could be stronger. But part of it is going to be the glass, and part of it is going to be your slip. So when you spray the window, you want to see it evenly sheet. So if you do that, and it sheets on the window, then you're fine. If you spray the window and it just beads straight off, that's more of a glass issue. Adding more soap compensates for that slip running off the window. So when you add more soap, when you touch soap, it like sticks to your skin. I had to learn this. So those are surfactants. The more surfactants that you have in your soap, make it stick to certain things. So, but the trade-off is they can get in the way of the film clinging to the window. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. If you have too much, then you risk your film just sliding around for all eternity. And then if you have too little, it'll just stick right away. I still think you could bump it up. But that's why you'll sometimes run into, hey, this window slides a lot and this other one doesn't. So you're spraying the window with soap. Mm-hmm. Yep, soapy water. So I'm doing 1 ounce per gallon on my mix. And that's usually a good amount. So when I spray, it evenly sheets. That's the other thing that I always look for. Is carbon ceramic easy to learn on? So not necessarily. The cheaper ones are not easier to learn on. They're actually more difficult to learn than just getting a cheap dyed film. I'm not entirely sure what people think, though. Like when you're shopping around for films, like I almost need to do a survey. Do you, like a ceramic film and a carbon film just has like more features in it. It just helps block more heat. It doesn't make it easier to shrink. It doesn't make it easier to install. It's just more benefits for the end consumer. So like when you're buying a film, we like them to be easy to work with because it makes our lives easier. But our customers, that's who they really design the films for. So some films you just have to kind of adapt to. All right, applied pattern. Let's go for it. Let's see how this lines up. Is that the new Triad Squeegee blade? Mm-hmm. He's been working on the material for that squeegee blade for over 2 years now at this point. I've been getting samples for so long, and he'll say like, hey, tell me what you think. And every single one of those samples has like, no, no, no. I felt bad. I think I have them in a drawer. Yep. So there's some other blue ones. Look, we got red, we got fuchsia, we got orange. I don't know what colors he's gonna officially come out with, but this is like the current version of it. Maybe don't tell him I don't know. I don't think it matters at this point, but they've been working on squeegee blades for a long time now, and it's been trying to dial in the material for so long. I'll get a sample, it'll look super cool, I'll try it, be all excited, and then it'll start to like wear out really, really quickly. This is the first, like this is like one of his like, okay, I think this is it. And it's genuinely really, really good. How long does the tint off your website arrive? I'm in Cali. Cali is going to be 1-day shipping. They ship from Louisiana or a Vegas warehouse. So Cali, your next day. I don't know, that's pretty decent. I don't really like this. So like, here, I'll go through and I'll hand cut this one. But you see, like, we butt this edge up really close, and then watch what this does. It starts to trail away. So there's more of a gap right up here. And then it comes back up towards the top. And honestly, it looks like it goes over that edge a little bit. So this is what I mean by like, I like hand cutting my doors versus plotter cutting. This gap here, like most people would be able to just roll this up and just call it a day. Because you're not really gonna see that and your customer's not really gonna notice it, but the inconsistency from it going close to here to right up here, I don't love that. Just push it up and shave it. But it's like, it's over in like the annoying spot. So it's over here and it's over here, which is, it's gonna, I'm likely gonna screw it up by trying to do that. So when I don't like, what I don't like about plotted patterns is pretty much exactly that. That's honestly not that bad, but it still is not ideal. So let's just see hand cutting one, if we can make it look a little bit nicer. But you can see, like, if you were just a shop and you had a bunch of cars and you're just trying to whip through their day, here I am nitpicking that. Most people are not. English or Spanish? That's been... It's outdated. We've moved on. Bro, why waste paper? Because he paid a good price for good quality, and when the quality isn't there, we redo it. I don't know. That's kind of the difference here. But I've done. I'm trying to think of the car that I cut not too long ago. I think it was 2 front doors, and the patterns on it were beautiful. Top edge lined up, so nice. If it wasn't for that edge hanging over, totally acceptable. Ship it. Yeah, and I get that. I get some people look at it that way. It's just like, it's just production, roll it up, ship it. Customers can be really nitpicky if they don't. But I'd say that's kind of my difference between shops that I've tinted for and generally what I do here. I'm just nitpicky. All right, we'll pull that down. That over there. What are you spraying? We're spraying a Sophie water mix. That's why you're successful. Yes and no. So there's, to be perfectly honest, there's going to be certain things that, like, everybody can be successful in their own way. There's going to be, that is going to be a thing that if I was just trying to whip through cars in a day, yeah, like your average person, and honestly this guy, is probably going to be totally fine with it and not going to notice it unless you point it out. But damn it, I notice it. And so it's a good thing, but also a bad thing. Can I bring my car to you this weekend? Yeah. Yeah, you can call and schedule an appointment or text us, and our bot will get you all set up. You can seriously just Google us and text us, and then our bot will run you through options and try and answer questions, and then hopefully it'll be all accurate. Do you do PPF? Not right now. It's like crochet. I know my mistakes, but the average guy wouldn't. That's a really good analogy. Yeah, because there's a level of like, I don't know, it's crochet. Do people really care? But when you've been doing it for so long, you're like really in it. So, some of the things that, you know, we wouldn't have a channel and a setup like this if like we didn't care. So, there's just some of it. It's like some of it that's good, some of it's bad. I ripped the tint off. Thought I'd have to go back to the dealership. Okay, so we're gonna take this one out. And we're gonna replace it with this. So we're gonna shrink this one. We're gonna take this one, toss it away. What? Would you recommend I tint the shield again if I had to dry out the harness from the first guy? How are those? What? Is there a problem with the windshield? I'd love to see a Subaru Legacy get tinted. I don't get many Subarus. The CX-30, I'm sure you've heard of the issues. I just did a CX-30. I didn't have any issues. We did the full windshield on it, too. I think people are just not covering up their vehicles. Kind of like the Rams. You started hearing those blow up. And then I found out what the issue was, and dude, we live by where Ram trucks are built. Like, I've gotten a ton of those. If they're covered up right, you don't have an issue. So like CX-30, I don't exactly know, but certain cars are more water prone than others. I just feel like maybe that's another one that's on that list of people aren't just being as careful as they should be. What car's the easiest to tint? Man, give me Malibus all day. Give me Malibus all day. Malibus are so easy. There's a time when I had a bunch of them in a row. It was great. Why do people still apply film on the outside? Sheesh. I know it, man. What amateurs. You know what's funny? The more people that tint, the less we hear it. And I honestly don't hear it as much as I did like 6 months ago. Good job. Good job, general tint community, educating the general public. I have an 05 Legacy I want to get tinted. Do it. We could do it. Have you ever gotten Porsches or like supercars? They're actually few and far between for me. For a Porsche, I've done like a bunch of Panameras. That's one that can go die. I never liked tinting a Panamera. Backlash, easy. Everything else, annoying. But no, not a lot of supercars. I'd say I need to plant my shop in a slightly nicer neighborhood. All right, let's look at this quick. So, top edge, that can be pushed up a little bit more. So this is the difference here. This is just like nitpicky personal thing, right? See how that's nice and even? It goes with the glass, and you have a consistent edge all the way through. That's generally why I go to hand cut versus plotter cutting. It's like that small difference though. That's kind of like the last. And it's tough because every window could be a little bit different. So when you're hand trimming it, you're getting like that exact fit to that exact window. When you're machine cutting it, whatever vehicle that they had to get the pattern to machine cut it is what's going to be applied for everything. So if there's little differences, they then have to go back and tweak the pattern. And so it's not always going to work out because, you know, the window shape might be the same when the cars were first made, but then fast forward 3 or 4 years, maybe they got a different window supplier, they're manufacturing slightly differently than they did before, or, you know, machines change. I don't know. There just could be small differences that like add up. So like quarter windows, those worked out great, and I'm really glad I cut them on the quarters. But I still tend to just want to hand cut the doors because we're not going through a ton of cars here every day. So it's not about saving every minute that we can. But it's funny the war that you get. Both are good. Both will give you a good result. There's pros and cons to both. Can't we all be friends? What brand of ceramic film do you recommend? I use GeoShield, so that's what I recommend. If I order a roll of tint with a bunch of tools, will they come together? Nope. No, they'll come separate. Sometimes the tools will arrive quicker, sometimes the film, sometimes they'll both arrive at the same time. All the tools ship from us. All the film drop ships depending on the warehouse that's closest to you. So if you're over in California, film will get there a little quicker because it's next day, shipping right out of their warehouse. What do I think about tint? Oh, Tint X. I was going to say, it's a really general question for a tint channel. What do you think about tint? I haven't seen the film since they've rebranded to Tint X. I wasn't a big fan of it before. But a lot of people like it. It's got its place. How does GeoShield compare to SunTac? For sure, I can tell you Geo's just got a better scratch coat. And then for everything else, I genuinely don't know. I don't know if there's anything that would beat Geo on SunTac, but what's happening with the water behind the film? So there are these things called drains in the bottom. There'll be little holes at the bottom, and then the water will drip out there. Because believe it or not, when it rains, like you see this hole right here, and there's this gasket, but water seeps in here. And look, there's these holes here. So no matter what, your car is getting water inside the door. But it all drips out the bottom. Have you tried Tint Club? No. We could probably sell a lot of it, though. Tint X, when they were Lexan, I mean, anybody can buy a pallet from them and resell it. They wanted me to do that. They wanted to sponsor a lot of the channel, too. But I didn't like what I tried, and I gotta install something so we have a channel here, but we have an actual tint business, and there's people that schedule that have no idea that we have a channel. So no matter what we install, this is stuff that I don't want to have to worry about failing or clarity issues. So when I first opened up, I was already a tinter. I was tinting for other places, and we had gone through a number of different films. We were using Avery Dennison at the time. I didn't like their upgraded films, so their carbon hybrid film and then their ceramic film. I didn't like either of them. So I started looking into GeoShield. And we did a lot of tests with it. And it did really, really well. And I've been using them ever since. Ooh, I made it. We gotta figure out a trash can situation. Slide this over. Slide this down. This squeegee's holding up well. Good for them. Are there cars in your shorts actual customers' cars? Depends on the short video. Some of them were cars that we have. So like the video where I dropped the roll of film on the trunk of the car, that was our class car. So like that black Altima, that was a class car. And then there's certain cars that it's just like, it would take us like 6 hours to make one of those short videos. So we just need a lot of time, and a lot of these cars are not here for that long. So we just needed a car. It didn't matter what car it was on. I was worried about that Altima. Yeah, don't drop like a full 100-foot roll of film on the trunk of a car. But the reason I did that was like right at the beginning of the video, it was funny and it grabbed a lot of people's attention. Whack! It was great. That video did so well. What do you think of Stack? Stack is interesting. I don't know too much about them. I feel like they're one of those brands. Like, I have not looked at their films, so this is just like, if their films are really, really good, I feel like it's one of those brands that could be really popular. There's just not a lot of people know about them, and not a lot of people talk about them. But I think they're a big, fairly big company. Not from the US. But they definitely have some good branding, interesting products, and could probably do some cool stuff. Have you ever used ProTech? No, I don't know who they are. How long would it take me to learn how to do this for a living? Everybody's different. It's honestly really tough to say because some people learn it rather quick. Some people take longer to learn it. And then there's the making it actual business part. Because knowing how to do it is one thing, but actually making an income from it is another. There's more people in it now, but it's definitely harder than it used to be. But there's, you know, a lot more awareness now for it too. So there's a lot more business out there. It's just the people that win can win really big. Any suggestions for plotters? Have you ever been robbed? Are you offering? Any suggestions for plotter? If you're trying to stay on a budget, Workhorse 1. That's the Workhorse 2. Get the Workhorse 1. If you have some more money to spend, wow, that would have been really fun to drop that on the floor. Then a Jag or a Graphtec. What should I do as a new business owner in tints? A lot of customers. I find a lot of customers, but have to get it bulk. What? What's your question? You're a new business owner, but what? You have to be fast, consistent, professional, and competitive in order to make this from a business versus a hobby. Yep, definitely. How much money do you keep in the register at one time? We don't keep a register. Who has registers? I have a wallet. Everybody pays with like cards or almost exact amounts in cash. Is it better to physically shift windows over or to make the film wider to compensate for it? Generally just make your pattern a little bit wider. You do both. You make your pattern a little wider and then physically push the window so it shifts back to where you want it to. Because you'll let it, it'll rock back. I'll just like push on this top edge and straighten the window back out. Ordering tint in bulk. Oh, like where to order tint in bulk? Some companies will just have tiered pricing. Some will have flat pricing across the board. I would wonder who you want to order from first and then figure out what the pricing is going to be. Find a company and a film that you like first. It's not just like, I see tint, I buy tint, and then I have successful tint business. There's always more to it than that, if you want to be really good anyways. Thoughts on Expel? They're cool. Who's better, the Titan or the Workhorse? I don't know Titan very well. I know Workhorse better, but from, I don't know, what I can tell, they're the same machines. Just make sure you get rollers on the back. You offer a budget option where you patch a bunch of pieces together. That would be pretty awesome. The scrap pile will tint your car for $100. And then we'll just Tetris it together. It sounds like more work than just doing it right. But it is funny. We got some scraps in the back. Why did that brand of film change its name to Tint X? I don't know. I don't know. Somebody said it conflicted with another business. I think that's probably right. I think they had like a newsletter that they said that in. A little bit more. There we go. When doing the two-step method, how do you prevent creases on the side? So preventing creases right here. It depends on the window. You're not folding it hard. You're just letting it basically bend back, but you'll still generally get a very small pinch there. So it depends on the seal. These ones aren't very tight. So some of them are just gonna be a really quick fix. With a little bit of heat. That's actually like how all of them are. What are some good film, carbon and ceramic? I use GeoShield films, so I like them. How many cars do you do in a week? There's like how many cars I used to do in a week, and then how many we do now. We just don't do very many. we keep it rather limited. Avoiding what? How many cars do? Oh, avoiding answering that question? Take that back. No, and I've talked about it in length before. So the whole reason I opened up this shop the way that it is like, one, I didn't want a tint shop, and two, I wanted to focus more on videos and content than actually doing jobs. That's caused me to also neglect a lot of traditional business things. Like, I didn't have a good-looking website until end of last year. We haven't taken advantage of asking people to leave reviews. You know, so we're like a little over 100 or whatever, but it should be far more than that. We don't do any paid advertising. That's something that I should definitely do. And this time of year, because a lot of people are on back to school vacations, it just slows down a lot. So what I want to do is make sure we have at least one car a day, so we can do some content off of it. And then as that schedule fills up, we kind of like adjust. But if I pack myself busy with cars all day, which is the way I used to tint, it makes it incredibly difficult to do anything else other than tint. And so we like doing other things other than tinting here. So we're working on our own internal system. It's actually really cool. If you guys message us right now, you'll have a bot respond that'll try and schedule you. You can talk to it. You can ask it questions. Thoughts on the black magic I'm using right now. Black magic is kind of expensive for what it is. You can find it at Walmart. It's not great film. It's just a way to get some cheap tint on some windows. Do you have a lot of competition? Yeah, we got a fair amount around here now. So you can search Detroit Tint Studio, and then you can just search the area and find the other tint shops that are around. We got ones that are cheaper right around us. Is GeoShield the best tint in the business? I think there's not any other brands that you could pick up that's going to have any type of noticeable advantage. It becomes like a pissing contest from one film to the next. So if you were to ask me, like, spec for spec, who has the absolute best films, I have no idea. They're all going to be, there's a lot of top tier brands that are all going to have really, really good films. It's just, it becomes a branding game. Are the fronts already done? One side is. We got to do the other. Quarters are done though. Except for this one, we got to do this quarter. Can you toss me a panel cover? Yes, thank you. There are only 7 film manufacturers in the world, bunch of Reeboxers. Yep. That's why it gets difficult. Like, people ask a lot about film brands and get really hung up on film brands. It's like, you want to try and dig more than that, and you can't necessarily do that right on their website. If you start tracing back films from a particular brand to a particular manufacturer, then all of a sudden you start seeing similarities. You're like, oh, this company is like this company. They're not going to be identical, but their films are going to have a lot of the same characteristics. So I think GeoShield has said they utilize 5 manufacturers at this point. Why didn't I put one up here? Oh, because I didn't do this window. That's why. Why does some tint have a brown or blue hue to them? Because that's the way some manufacturers are with that particular film line. I don't know. There could be a couple of reasons. So manufacturers, what they'll generally do is they will make a SKU for you. So not everybody's films are going to be identical, but there's going to be certain color tones that certain companies are going to have a reserve on. And so one brand might have a slightly more blue tone, some might have slightly more brown tone, but you could order from, like, it just depends on how the manufacturer is. Blue hue vomiting face. I hear ya. It depends on how strong. You just want it to be neutral and you don't want it to stick out much at all. It's like, why can't they all just be neutral? I'm more surprised that there aren't, like, they aren't just all gray. Why do films all have like some sort of like tone color to them? I don't know. Geo with their C2 line has been a lot better. But then you also have the glass too. It doesn't necessarily stand out as much, but this one definitely on the more yellow side for sure. Do you only tape felt seals or rubber seals too? Yeah, I do both. It's most effective on a felt seal. Rubber seals become a little redundant, but if they got some dust in them, it'll help. But it's easier to clean a rubber seal than it is to clean, like, you're not really cleaning a felt seal. What program for the plotter? I use Core. I thought I had everything. Do you get certified when you go to a tint school? No, a lot of them will give you a certificate saying that you took the class, but there's no formal accreditation that matters, like, because there's no like governing body for window film. You can just buy film and tint cars, so it's all skill based. There's no way you could police it. That makes any amount of sense. How dark would you go on a WRX with it only being 35 being the legal limit? So we're actually doing 35 right now. As far as legal limits, I don't know. I know what most people do. But I'll show you this one at the end. We're doing 35 all the way around with a 5% strip. You forged doctor's notes? Sure, why not? Because there wouldn't be any problems with that. Free forged doctor's note. Do you experience soap left inside the film even after it's squeegeed? There's always moisture in between the film and the glass when you press harder, there's not as much and your window dries faster. So especially with it being hot outside, you do a couple of firm passes and within a day or two, your windows are dried. In the wintertime, it can take a little bit longer than that. What year's Subaru? 21. He said they were kind of hard to come by. You guys a fan? I had a video I was doing, it was a Walmart film. It was like their black magic, and it was so hazy. And then I just did a funny comparison. I tinted a window with actual milk, but it was a better film. And the film that I tinted with milk dried perfectly clear. And the shitty ceramic was still hazy. That was tinted with just regular soapy water. So you can actually tint a window with a whole bunch of stuff. It'll still look fine. So soap, no, it's not gonna make your film look bad or hazy or anything. You're gonna have moisture in between the film and the glass. There's gonna be a little soap mixed in there. It's gonna dry perfectly fine. Have you used film and vinyl designs? Yeah, I didn't like it at all. Can you fix scratched glass? Not easily. It's better to just get a new piece of glass. A light scratch means you basically have to do like a ton of sanding to try and polish it down, and glass is so hard. It's gonna be like impossible. It just doesn't, it makes way more sense to just get a new piece of glass than try and put hours into fixing a piece of glass. Carbon fiber window tint. There's no window films with actual patterns in it, just chameleon films. It'd be hard to do something like that and still be reasonable to see through. What's your technique for cleaning behind the quarter windows? Blast the shit out of them. Oh yeah, I had the other pattern there. Okay, well now we got both. So I'll take a bunch of soapy water and I'll run it through the seals and flush a bunch of it down. And then try and be real direct about installing it. And then if they turn out a little dirty, I rip the film off, I spray it again, flush it out, and then try again. It's better for more attempts. It's better for more attempts than trying to do like extra cleaning, because there's like, I'll just flush them out a bunch. Just try and like hose through it. Why don't you like film and vinyl designs? Because their patterns were terrible. It seemed like people made a bunch of excuses to even use them. I don't know. I just don't think they're relevant. I'm not trying to be mean to them, but it's just their patterns were really, really rough. And like there's no advantages to using them. Like they're not cheaper than anybody else. They don't have better patterns than anybody else. They don't have a better software suite than anybody else. They're just an option. So Core is going to be like your best publicly available patterns. What was it? Film Cut is going to be your best priced option with still fairly good patterns. But nothing's under $100 anymore. So like, give me like Core's like 150. Give me a good reason to use somebody else over Core right now. Like software is rough. Software is like best price, best features win. And it's simple to switch. And you don't even need to just keep one. You could get multiple, try them out, see how they work. But I never had a good experience with film and vinyl. Do you use a product to take the glue out? What are we taking the glue out of? If you do PPF, Core is crazy expensive. Their software is expensive, but when you have awesome patterns and with PPF, you're just making, like, the jobs are just more expensive. It's 100% worth it. They could charge $1,000 a month and the software is still worth it. It's just expensive compared to whatever other software suites are, but I don't think any other software suite is better. So when they win well. It's an extra what? $325 a month? I mean, how much are you charging for front end on a PPF job? $2,500? 2,000? Like, your software pays for itself so fast. It's just what people just don't like paying for software, and I get it. So it's not necessarily something you're just going to pick up and not utilize. What happens when water runs down behind the panel? It all runs basically down behind the panel. There's always a plastic, like membrane panel behind the door panel. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you see like those gaps right there? So when I spray, where does the water go? It goes down into the door, and then it drips out the bottom. So some of it goes outside the door, but this car is not waterproof. The inside of the doors get wet. So when you're spraying this window, it just drips to the bottom of the window and then trails on the back side of that membrane and then out the bottom. Come try our films at Solar. Are you trying to advertise your film? Was that stainless steel? No, this is just a nice quality blade. So you don't need a blade to be stainless steel or not to scrape against the surface. You just need a nice quality edge, and you're just gliding over the surface. So the difference is I'm scraping versus cutting. Cutting is taking your knife and just dragging it along the glass. That's where you want to use stainless if you use anything. Meta Ray-Bans for a live cam. They're not that good. They only go for like 30 minutes max on Instagram only. What are you using? An iPhone. I have an iPhone on like a neck mount. It's pretty basic, actually. Where do you order your squishy? We get all our squishies from 313tint.com. For a workhorse one, 53 or 68. The 53 is what you're gonna use probably all the time. You like never, so the only reasons to ever get a 68, which is huge, is if you're cutting a 60-inch roll of film. And the only reason to cut a 60-inch roll of film is like if you're doing a Model 3 back window. And that's it. Everything else is 40s. 40s and 36s. So that's the 53-inch machine right there. If I did a Tesla, I would just hand cut the back window anyways. I wouldn't even bother trying to plotter cut that. I mean, it'd probably turn out fine, but there's no reason to. Do you show a complete job outside when you're finished? Yep. Yep, we'll take it outside. We'll show you guys what it looks like. We realized that the lighting in here with the ceiling, it makes the film look lighter than it is. As soon as you pull it outside, it looks darker. How much does the machine cost? I don't know. You can go to Plotter Depot and find out. Offhand, I don't know. I think it's like the workhorse one is like sub 2,000. I bought a Lowe's single-edged blade. It scratched the glass. Yeah, I think you messaged us like the other day. So I'll show you the blades that we use. I've never had a razor blade scratch a window. But if I got blades and they were scratching the windows, I would immediately grab a different type of, or a different blade. Soapy water, sharp angle, and you're not gonna hurt the windows. Have you ever done any farm or construction equipment? Nope. No, there's just nothing around here that we ever get asked about. The Squeegee, I'm happy. This has held up so much better. I bought stainless steel blades. Do you think it would be better? Yeah, like stainless is always a safer option. They're more expensive, and so I've never really seen a reason to get them because I've had the same results with both stainless or regular. The only time to get stainless is like when you're cutting on the glass. So I'll show you. So we'll grab a new razor blade. So there's the razor blades for cleaning. This is what we use. These ones are not stainless. These are just American line. You can find these in a lot of places, really. We'll open one up. Nice sharp blade there. So when I clean glass, we'll spray it. So make sure that there's soapy water there. And then we use a really like steep angle to it, or low angle. So we're scraping against the surface. We're never doing like that kind of stuff, right? You're just trying to scrape stuff off the window. That's all you're doing. If you're cutting tint though, a pack like this, so this is NT Cutter. This is their stainless steel 60-degree blades, BA50SS. But when you're using them, so that's what's in this knife right here, we're cutting directly on the surface of the glass. And so if this is a harder metal, you're gonna score or scratch the window. So that's where that matters way more. If you had to redo the cabinet setup, what would you change now? Nothing? We were a little limited on, you know, I might get more drawers. So like we have like our cabinet ones and then we have the drawers. I might have gotten an extra drawer one. And then same thing for this. This was like this is nice because it's like a trash can here. And it just came with a setup. So I was like, yeah, that's probably fine. And then this one was for like small tool parts and stuff. But I can just hang all the spray bottles off of it. So that's kind of nice too. But that's basically it. You can definitely send us a message. Send it on like Instagram or Facebook. You'll get an automated system that'll message you a lot, and then we'll message back what we can. Where's my... Do we not have scrub pads in there? What the heck? Do you have a channel for PPF install? No. I would like to, though. I wouldn't be the PPF guy. Oh, it's over here. We need a PPF guy. PPF is one of those... comes with a lot more risk if you just don't have the right guy doing the job. Because either it's some really expensive fuck-ups and you waste a lot of money in film, or they cut through to the paint and then you're having to paint somebody's brand new vehicle, and the whole reason that they're there is to protect the nice new paint that they have. So repainting is never even a good option. Do spray bottles have different slip ratios in the keg? No, same ratios still. So a 32-ounce bottle, you'll put like a 1/4 of an ounce. Can you guide me to those door panel covers? Yes, I'm also doing well. 313tint.com. Now we have a lot of these rolls. A channel you can check out for PPF, though, is Optical. They came here and did a training, learned a lot of good stuff, and we filmed everything. So if you want to learn a lot about PPF, I posted a couple of videos, and then they got a lot more on their Optical channel. Why aren't you using the double-sided hybrid squeegee? Because Tri-Edge just released a squeegee blade, and I'm seeing where it stacks up. I think it's going to be personal preference. I think some people are really going to like that over the hybrid, and some people are still going to like the hybrid over that. The hybrid only comes in a... That's not hybrid. See, we were putting it through its paces. Hybrid doesn't come cropped, so this is what a crop blade looks like. Hybrid is two-sided, so it's always squared. So what's nice about these is you can get them into some tighter spaces, because this section isn't here to knock into like door panels and stuff. But you only have one edge here. But the main difference between materials here is this is an injection molded squeegee, so this is pumped into a mold. That's where you get this like beautiful finish on the squeegee. And this is a poured squeegee. So this is unlike any of these really. But everybody's gonna have their own materials that they use. Tri-Edge has been working on a material for like, I don't know, over 2 years now. They had the molds done. They've had the molds done, and they've been working on materials, and honestly, I would think that the molds would be the hardest part of making a squeegee. Okay, we're gonna try this again on the back. Just spray that. A little shmew. Where do we even start it? Does it matter? I don't think so. That's so easy. Probably could just do the whole thing. That's nice. What's that? Like a ceramic coating applicator? And a soap bar? Yeah, basically a sponge. A sponge with like a nice towel on it. Soap bars has been one of those things I've been asked like so many times about. And then I saw a post not too long ago. Whoa, that dry, holy shit, that dries fast. Wow. Interesting. All right, let's grab our film. Yeah, there was a Dove bar. Can you go step by step on heat shrinking? Yeah. So the thing about soap bars and using other stuff is every film is going to stick differently. So it's kind of like the different soap bars could make the tint stick differently. So it's about finding, like, I don't know, maybe they're all fine. Maybe this one's gonna stick a lot. I don't really know until I just put it on here and try it out. So we'll see. Use the same method for the side windows. No, absolutely not. We use something on the back window because we have a lot more to shrink, and we're doing a dry shrinking method on the back window. On the doors, there just isn't as much to shrink, so you can do it with a little soapy water and a lot more efficiently. So when we're shrinking, you see we've got all this loose film right here? That's nice. See how it's like floating? The only area that it's not floating is up here because there's soapy water sprayed up there, so this film is clinging to that. So you want to make sure everything is dry that your film has contact with. That's like first. So that's floating. So I'm going to pull it. I'm going to find that center point, and I'm going to just tack it down there and card it. So I've basically stretched it out a little bit right in the center and just tacked it down. So now, see, it's not moving there anymore. The only areas that don't stick are wherever I haven't tacked down yet. So as soon as I do this, and I do this, see, it's wiggling here, but it's tacked down right in here. So we need to anchor it in the middle, and we need to anchor it along the sides, right like this. Then we're gonna grab our heat gun. We'll take, this is just a basic Wagner heat gun. Turn the heat all the way up. See, 1, 2, high. So you control your heat with distance. So the closer I get, the hotter it is, and the faster I move it, or slower I move it, the hotter my hand is gonna get, right? So with this, we're gonna stay really about like, this is like 5 inches, anywhere like 5 or 6 inches away starting out, unless you wanna really move fast. But you're heating the film, and the reason why you're not applying too much heat is you wanna watch it slowly shrink down, and then it's gonna start to do this. So it's gonna wobble around a little bit, and then it's gonna start to form these little sideways lines, and you wanna be able to identify those before you smooth the film forward. So see this area? This is pulled flat, those little ripples there. But this area, this is all still loose film. So I don't want to card anywhere past here. This is ready to be pushed forward. And all we're effectively doing is matching our card up with these sideways air pockets and pushing those forward up to where that film was still loose. See how this is swooping? Match your card, still swooping, and then we're gonna push this straight out the side. Right like that. Little finger here, so let's pick it back up. Make all our side fingers go straight up. There we go. And then we'll continue shrinking. So we're just waiting for those little air pockets, these big, bulky, loose areas to form into small, sideways waves. And the farther up you go, the more film you have to shrink. So see how there's like peaks and valleys here? If you just take your finger and you just pinch and pull the film a little bit, you'll fan those out. Give those areas some heat, and then let go, and then they're already gonna be a lot smaller from where they were. Just let the film take some heat, relax, and then continue to push this out. So it's really just identifying and sticking to a couple of rules, and then shrinking is gonna start to click. It's just waiting to identify those things. Side is anchored. Take our heat gun, 45-degree angle in the direction that we're shrinking. What's the name of the tape? The tape is called Glass Aid. See? Now I got all these sideways air pockets, and then this is still a little loose right down here. So this is all ready to push forward, but match your card up to the direction it's going. So see how this is now swooping up this way? Match your card up. Is Rock Rose Ceramic good tint? They are bottom of the barrel. I wouldn't go with that. The only reason you're looking at it is because they're cheap. How about Lexan Tint from Amazon? Is that any good? That's Lexan's worst film too. The only reason it's on Amazon is because they can make some money off of it, but that's the worst line of film that they sell. That's for people that are just looking for tint, that don't know anything. Where would you place high-tech ceramic? No, high-tech, so they're owned by, there's a few different companies there. I don't know how much they want me to say or whatever, but I don't think they really care that much. So you have Solar Control down in Texas. And they sell a line of film called Global. Well, Global is a territory film, meaning that they're a southern distributor, so they can only sell it to surrounding states that are in their global territory. So then they came out with their Tint Depot brand, which was a way to white label global film, which is a good film, and sell it elsewhere. And then they came out with their high-tech brand because eventually they realized, and I told them this years ago, and I think they knew, really professional tint shops are not going to ever want to carry a film called Tint Depot. It sounds too much like Home Depot. Like, what tint do you use? Tint Depot. Is that good? Yes. It's like reverse branding. It sucks. Take a good film and give it a shitty brand. So high-tech, they have some other film lines from some other manufacturers. I know they're not 100% global, but they're a company that I would probably trust. I don't think they would just ship a bad product, so. They're in like a similar, I talk too much and then I probably bring some of these companies down. But they're probably in a similar territory to like where GeoShield is. It's like, where did GeoShield come from? They're not a direct manufacturer, and there's so many brands that are just not at this point. But they utilize the best manufacturers to make really, really good films. And so they just don't have that prestige that certain other companies do. But they'll go toe-to-toe with them any day of the week. There's still a few quirky things that you're probably not going to like maybe they don't have quite as many shades in certain films that you'd want. Stuff like that. It's very minimal, though. Can you try Tint Club film? No, because they're like another, just whatever. Like, it's like a Tint Depot. Why do you want me to try them? Because it's a cheaper, it would be a cheaper alternative to like Geo with a worse brand. Like, it's like Tint Depot. It's like they serve this like weird middle ground. Like they're not going to be as cheap as like a Lexan, right? So they don't win that category. They don't have near as good of a brand as even like a GeoShield does, so they're not going to win that category either. It's like, why would it? What's the reason? One time I tried Edge and it felt similar to GeoShield. So Edge and Autobahn, those are related. Autobahn is like their territory brand. Edge is their everything brand. I know that they're one of those films that come from same manufacturer. Same thing as Expel. What would you say are the best tint brands? Probably ones that you already recognize and know. So like love them or hate them, 3M's going to be on that list because they're really recognizable. Expel's definitely on that list. They're very recognizable. Lumar. And then some that are still really big companies that you might not recognize as much anymore or hear. There's like Solar Guard. There'll be monsters in like the flat glass space, but they're not going to be near as relevant in automotive like they used to be. Global's one of those brands that you just don't really hear as much anymore. Suntech, they're owned by Lumar or Eastman, which is, you know, Lumar and Suntech, those are related together. Those are like some of your main, like, big boy company brands. And there's probably a couple more in there. Solar FX? Solar FX is more like a GeoShield. They do have territory, though. Autobahn, they're somewhere in there, too. Bigger company than Geo. And then they have their Edge brand, and then their Autobahn brand, which is a territoried one. Are they good or who good? Which one? They're, well, now my razor blade. They're all going to be good. I don't know firsthand from using their films, but I just know what kind of customer base some of these companies have. And they don't get that with just having a bad product. So, yeah, all of them have films that are loved by installers. The thing is, it's like, so who do I use? Well, start talking to some of the companies. That's where some of the biggest differences lie. Some of them are great to talk to. Some of them are too corporate. Some of them are territoried in a way where, sorry, you're just too small for us to care. Or there's already a bigger shop in your area, so you're not allowed to carry our films. What about United Nano Carbon Film? What the hell is that? Is that guy out of New York? United Nano Carbon Film. Do you teach the school that your shop offers? Yeah, absolutely. Is it okay to use 2 pieces to tint a rear window? No, not anymore. Why would you do that? It's easier to do a 1 piece than it is 2 pieces. What about Scorpion? Scorpion's like a older, or not older, they're like, they've been around for a while. They're an okay budget brand. I wasn't a huge fan of them. We tinted, so we like subbed in for a tinter at a shop for a little bit, and he had Scorpion film and adhesive. You know, I complain about Geo sometimes being too sticky. That stuff just didn't seem to want to seal up along the edges. How did you take out that light? This is just something that you'll recognize. It's just the type of light. If it looks like it can be removed, they generally can. This one's just a pop together one. So it just unclips. What tool do you use to tint the back glass? I'll use a few different ones. I'll use this squeegee right here, which is a 5-inch handle squeegee blade combo. We're using the new tri-edge squeegee blade, even though it really has 1 edge. Should I offer my services as a tinter even if I'm below intermediate? Well, you gotta learn somehow. What kind of camera? It's an iPhone. Why did you use a clay bar? Because the defroster lines, they'll oxidize. See how this, that I just pulled off the lines? It'll just help clean them up. Help the film stick a little better. Those corners. Why do they do that? You see what they do here? Look at that. Why do they pinch it tight? So this squeegee right here, this is a really good example. If I try and wedge this down here, it grabs and it's likely gonna rip my corner back up. And that's why I like these things. These are called tail fins. I could swipe this in a corner and just pull it straight out. These are great. So we're gonna use that. nice. Somebody's messaging us. Fun fact, this car went through our, I guess you call him a booking bot? I don't know. He messaged us after hours and got his whole appointment scheduled, and we didn't even have to say anything. It was all automated. It was fantastic. And it sold him on carbon. That was even cooler. He was familiar with this place, though. He had a couple coworkers get their cars tinted here, though. So I don't think he was going anywhere else. Have you used Flex Film? I wasn't happy with that company. Should I order or should I offer tint as part of my detailing services? Well, do you know how to do it? Or do you know somebody that can do it? Tinting is a great service for any type of automotive business outside of mechanical shit. Like if you're in a body shop, you need a separate room to do window tint, like for sure. But if you're doing like auto glass, car detailing, vinyl, paint protection film, tint's kind of a no-brainer. Every one of your customers is going to ask about window tint. The problem is that tinting in and of itself is a tedious skill to learn. So you're not really going to be a detailer and a window tinter per se. You're either going to do detailing or you're going to do window tinting. So you need somebody else to do your tinting. Because if you're doing tint, honestly, it makes more sense to just keep doing tinting and then hire somebody else to do the car cleaning. Because the car cleaning is going to be easier to teach people how to do. But don't spend time trying to do both. I think that was one of my, like, you think more skills, more money. It's like, no. More services you do right, the more money you can make. And then the more that you can get in and the more you can charge, the more you make. But one person trying to do lots of things, jack of all trades, master of none, it becomes really difficult. You have to hire a team if you're going to do multiple stuff like that. Or you just keep like a whatever pace, and then you make enough money for, yourself, and that's fine if you want to keep it that way. You don't have to grow into a company. United is an Amazon brand. It's garbage. One ply. I'm now taking it off. Yeah, makes sense. So the reason why you don't find any professional films on Amazon, you find all these like weirdo brands, is because Amazon takes away 10 to like 15% margins on every sale. And your customer base is just people that want a thing now and are not window tinters. They're just DIYers, on average, DIYers that need a solution to a problem. So any halfway decent solution, that's fine. I just want to save some money, get my product fast, and whatever. So that's, at least for the time being, why you never see any major brands or recognizable films being sold on Amazon. Biggest reason is really like the margins. Actually, it's both. It's margins and your customer base. But you can find halfway decent tools. Some of them are really bad though. Some of them are decent. What's a good website to get good tint? Goodtint.com. No, 313tint.com. What is the air hose water supply thing that you use? So we use a tint keg, and the airline or water line that I'm using right now is Flexzilla. It's a 1/4 inch, and so we ran it inside the reel. It was really easy to do with the right reel. Do you get any contamination installing film that way? You get contamination installing film anyway. It just should be really, really small and hard to find. But if I didn't point it out, you'd have a real hard time finding it. I didn't even, like, I'm gonna clean this off, and I'm gonna look for obvious stuff, speckling, and other issues. And if I don't see anything like that, it's good to go. What happens if you sneeze in the glass while decontaminating it? Well, then it's contaminated and you need to burn the car down. Germs. What about high tech? High tech's fine. We talked about them a little earlier. What's a proper baby shampoo? So baby shampoo, like, and this goes with like all soaps, just enough to get the film to slide, and then when you squeegee it, you want it to tack up. So I don't know what film you're using. If you're using Geo, I'd say don't use baby shampoo because the film's gonna stick almost no matter how much you add to it. Dawn, I wouldn't use Dawn. I wouldn't use anything with a degreaser. So it's a question that I've gotten since the beginning of me making YouTube videos. With film, like how much film or how much soap do I need? It's entirely dependent on what film you use, and you can always use too much. And by too much, it's just gonna slide around and it's gonna continue to slide around. And you look at that and you go, oh, that's a lot of soap. So I'm just gonna use whatever I used this time, I'm gonna use less next time. Blue Dawn is God tier. Isn't all Dawn blue? Unless you get like their different scents and stuff. So I used to use baby shampoo until I started using GeoShield, and then we had to get this stuff developed. This is Tint Slip. It's way stronger than baby shampoo, and it needs to be. How did you remove the brake light? That one just clipped in. So your little plastic tool, it pops right out. This is like one of few cars that will actually do that. It used to be a lot more popular, but Subaru is kind of old school like that. For the WRXs anyways. Tint Slip. Do you use a razor blade on the back window? No, just a clay bar. Clay bar, you can optionally use a scrub pad. The only time I'll use a razor blade is when I'm trying to get a little of, you know, like a sticker off. But I'm only going to use it like in between the defroster lines and use a adhesive remover on the rest. Most of the time you can just get by with adhesive remover and a scrub pad. So did I lose my, oh, this one. Probably this one. What's your average time spent on a car? I don't know, how long have we been on this car for? We've been on this for like 2 hours and 15 minutes so far. More of that was done blathering and talking. I don't really need to take this off because we're just doing a strip on this one. What's your difference from tint slip and baby shampoo? Tint slip is way stronger. If I could still use baby shampoo, I would still be using it. I was perfectly fine with baby shampoo. But when I switched to Geo, baby shampoo was just not strong enough. How can I book an appointment? That's a great question. Let me answer that one first. Here we go. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you can do. You can go to our website, DetroitTintStudio.com. You can call us. You can push this button, and you can get a quote. So fill out a form, get a quote. Or you could go right to the booking page if you want, and then pick a time and the date. So let's do like 2 front doors. We could book for tomorrow on 2 front doors if we wanted. And then we could pick like Monday. We could go as early as 10 o'clock. Select time. And you can go through this. Leave a deposit. We do encourage that you reach out first. So if you do a quote form or you just text message us or call us, you can get pricing and stuff ahead of time. For strips, do you use a factory edge at the bottom? Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Oh, so it's not, baby shampoo isn't slippery enough. Like you can have a bottle like half full of baby shampoo and half full of water and it still wouldn't be slippery enough. Or like it gets to the point where you're adding so much baby shampoo, like your eyes are burning and your film is still sticking. It's like baby shampoo and GeoShield, you need something stronger. To use the same tint slip to clean the window? Yeah. Glass cleans up really quickly though. So you could use a glass cleaner, but you can just use the same whatever soapy water that you're using to help clean the glass up before you tint it. So like this, you see this? This is adhesive left behind from like an oil change sticker. I'm just gonna spray a little soapy water there and scrape that off. I'm a weekend detailer and I also tint, but I struggle to shrink. Might be Lexan. Lexan is not just an easy film to shrink. When you learn how to shrink, Lexan becomes easier, but it's not an easy film to learn on. What's the tape called? The tape is called Glass Aid. I should put a cover on this. Can you use a normal soap bar versus Snuggles? I don't know what soap bars work, but this worked out really good today. So I took a Dove soap bar and I used a like microfiber applicator and I wet this down and just wipe this on the window. It'll work good. shrink the back glass with water and I get it done, but with struggles, then you should use Snuggles. Do you struggles with back windows? I like that. I struggles. You snuggles. But is dyed film the easiest to learn how to shrink? Yes. And good, certain films, like certain, you can't really even say good. It's just like some carbons and some ceramics, they shrink very easily. Generally, it's just the better brands, better quality films that are using better materials are just going to shrink easier. But it doesn't mean every expensive ceramic that you use is going to shrink easily. But for sure, in my experience, all the cheap ones are rubbery and they are not easy to shrink on. They're not easy to learn. Pure Max was the easiest one that they had. But I haven't looked at them in a little while. So maybe it's gotten better for practice. I don't know. I just get asked about them a lot because they're pretty cheap. And I get it. Saving money on film while you're learning is an important thing. But I've given a really good alternative. You can buy something cheaper than Lexan that is pretty good to practice on because it's not a carbon film. But people still ask me all day long about Lexan. T-View off of Amazon, no affiliation. They're just a cheap dyed film. And nothing shrinks easier than a cheap dyed film. Not even good films. Use Tint X for customers' huge profits. Nice. There's a lot of people that do the opposite. They'll take that film and they'll just charge less. There's no reason you can't charge just as much or more than Geo or any other brand. How you run your business is how you run your business. The money is in you doing the skill, not the product that you provide. It's the solution that you're providing, but it's also your skill and your customer service and everything that goes along with it. What do you recommend a new business should do to start getting customers? Hustle. Well, you want to do all the obvious stuff. So that's get listed on Google Business, Apple Maps. You should put a website together. It's helpful to have social media accounts because you will make a post or you'll do advertising and then people will message you there. But if you have a good website put together, you could always just do paid advertising. I heard this statistic the other day, and it really helped put some things in perspective. Generally, Facebook and Instagram ads are going to be about a 8 to 12% close rate, which means out of every 100 people, you're going to close 8 to 12 of them. Google's going to be a little higher, I think at somewhere near like 20%. On average. I have like a whole sheet. I should bring up that sheet. So if you're doing paid advertising, what you want to do is you want to have whatever the cost of acquiring a customer baked into the pricing of your tint job. So if it costs you $30 in ads to get a customer, add $30 to your price point. And that way you're not spending any more on advertising. It's just part of the cost of you running your business. Okay. So we want to line this up near the bottom of the tab. That's actually a really good spot for it. I like that. So we want to make sure. Does tint slip stain panels? No, I haven't seen it stain panels. So probably a little bit more up on this side. We're right below the dots. That looks nice. I'd say right in there. Looks pretty good. Where can I get my logo created? Oh, check out Fiverr. I actually am having somebody from Fiverr work on a logo. It's like, seriously, look, go on Fiverr, Google, or search logo, and you'll see like 100 people. What you want to do is look at some profiles, find an art style that you like, and then have them make your logo with that similar art style. $10. Yeah, you can find some really inexpensive ones. I'm working with somebody in like a $100 range right now. I still might reach out to somebody else. They're doing a good job. It's just sometimes it's like, you got a slam dunk right away, and then when you have to think about it too much, I don't know. There's nothing I can be, I don't know, logos. I started with AI though. AI kind of honed in on something that I really liked. And then I'm handing it off to a graphic designer to clean it up and make a few different versions of it. Do you recommend Vivor as a cutting machine? I've never used it. Just order Exact Light? What's that? Where did you get the cabinets? Cabinets were from New Age. They have a Bold series and then they have the Pro series. This is the Pro series. A little bit more expensive, but I like the bigger size of them, mainly because we were doing glass boards on them, and I wanted some really big, sturdy cabinets to support the weight of that glass off the front. I'm starting a new business. Should I price low in the beginning? No. No, you don't want to just price low just to be like, just to try and get more people necessarily. But if you do, you want to have a plan for raising it. But so what can happen is when you start a business at a particular price, you start attracting customers in that price range. And so as you get busier, they recommend people in their own pricing bracket. So then you build an entire client base in a particular pricing bracket, and then if you want to raise your prices, that might all of a sudden be too expensive for your current client base. So whatever price range that you want to be in, like you could, if you start doing a few, like we just opened specials, this is what our pricing normally is, blah, 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 but have a really good reason of raising it quickly, or else you'll just grow an entire business off of a different customer base. I've gone through 3 pieces learning to shrink my back window. The VW Golf is not an easy back window to shrink. And so like we do classes here, and we spend a day pretty much just on shrinking. And they go through a lot more pieces than just 3. And they have people looking over the shoulders correcting them. Shrinking's just tough. Oh yeah, I did this, right? We don't need to do it twice, but here we are. I went through an entire 100-foot roll on a 2003 Accord. That's a good car to learn on too, because that's not going to be the easiest back window to do, but it's definitely within the realm of like not crazy. But yeah, good for you. And here's the thing, like, what sucks is having to spend money on stuff that's literally going into the trash. But that's one of the biggest drawbacks with like having to learn how to tint, where like a wiring, like if you were to do like a remote start, you can miswire stuff and come back and correct it and not lose any money on product. So, but the entry into tint, like you don't need very much as far as squeegees and tools go, and they're way less expensive than doing something, like being a mechanic. It's just you are going to go through material instead of spending it on tools. So, it sucks, but could be worse. Do you recommend two-stage or bottom loading for the most part? Whatever comes easier. It depends on the person. So there are guys that like good examples are there's some people that have attended the classes that were former audio guys. So like pulling apart a door panel is second nature at that point. And it's like, cool, we'll just here's how you take out some door seals. They're like, oh, I can do that. And then it makes tinting way easier. They've been doing it for years. So some people will just... I'm wrapping up the windshield strip, so it'll just be a couple more minutes and it'll be all good.
Perfecto. Not too dark.
Good.
Yeah. I was worried. I'm like, should I went darker? That was my day today.
Oh, okay. Mark, you want to cash them out?
Yeah.
And then as soon as I wrap up, I'll be all good to go. Where's my squeegee? What do I want to do? I want to do... Is it on the floor? There it was. I dropped it. This guy. I want one of these. I'm back. I guess I'll watch you. Oh, okay. What would be a good tint to practice on that's cheaper? TV off of Amazon. It's like $100 a roll. It's hard to go wrong with film that cheap that's dyed. That's in one of my TikTok videos. I see a scratch from here, buddy. I see lots of water from here. There we go. Now that's stuck in place. Nice, nice, nice. What's your stream setup? Okay. Since you asked. New quote request on a 19 Ford Explorer. Hell yeah. Okay, so streaming setup's a little elaborate. TikTok likes you streaming from the TikTok app. So I've got a iPhone here that will stream the video through Streamlabs over to a box, and then that goes into a splitter. And one splitter comes down into this box right here, and then the other one goes into OBS on a computer. And so the OBS one goes to YouTube, and this little guy is TikTok. Little elaborate, but that's so we can stream on TikTok natively in a way that TikTok likes. Otherwise, I would just do it all from the PC. So we did C235 carbon on all the sides and the rear. And then we did a 5% strip. What soap do you use? Tint slip. This stuff right here. Tint slip. Blue Scrubby. So this is another triage tool. We have these 313tint.com. What? Native Instruments MK machine. What is that? Why tint slip instead of baby shampoo? Because it's much stronger and slipperier, and I don't have to add any other soap. So when I was using baby shampoo with GeoShield, it didn't matter how much baby shampoo I added. I had to find another soap, and I combined two soaps together. So, wasn't really a sensible solution, especially because that other soap at the time was Dawn. And then later I found out that degreasers are not good for window film. But I'm not a chemist. I'm just a window tinter. Looks like a low-stress job. We try. So tint slip is ready to apply. No mixing needed. No, you definitely mix it in with water. Or else it would be hella expensive. You provide the water, we provide the soap. Can you give a quick history of your business? Yeah, my dad owned a auto accessories company, and that's where I learned how to tint. I was going to aviation mechanics school at the time, so it was like 2008. And then after I was done with school, I stayed with window tinting because it made more money, and I found out I didn't really like aviation mechanics. But I paid for it, so I finished it. It was expensive. It was like 20 grand for like a trade school. And then at the time, his business went bankrupt during like the housing market crash, and then we reformed into Auto Tint City. That still exists over in Dearborn Heights, but we have very different ways of doing business. So I wanted to always spend more time on cars. He wanted to just see how many cars we could get done in a day, which obviously when you're just trying to make money doing cars, the more that you can do, the more money you're gonna make, unless you can charge higher prices. We would do cars for like, this is where like, I speak from a lot of experience on this. I know what it's like to charge next to nothing for cars. So we were doing cars for like 160 bucks. We got picky ass customers. We had to work like hell to make that money. We had to go to the end of the earth to please those people. And then you finish your week and you realize why you're just breaking even. So it's frustrating. So eventually, there was a mobile company that asked me if I wanted to come tint for them. And I wasn't really too keen on doing mobile, but got paid a lot better to do it. And at the time I was also doing the channel, but I spent a few years doing the channel, wasn't really sure what to do with it. You know, ad revenue was all up and down. I really didn't have like that many subscribers or whatever. And it seemed like it was near impossible to try and film videos in a busy shop. So I just kind of got burnt out with it all. And I focused just on doing tint. And I was making good money doing mobile tint for a while. Did that for about like 5 or 6 years. I forgot, I gotta push out. There's a couple little folds that we need to press out the water and air. So I did mobile tint for a while, saw how a lot of other shops operate, not necessarily tint shops, but other businesses. Some of them really good, some of them really bad. Tinted for a lot of different dealerships. And some of the best mobile experience that I had was working for associated businesses in nicer areas. Some of them weren't necessarily in nice areas, but they really had a good salesman up front that could keep us busy or would just charge more per car. They just had their shit together. There's a lot of sales guys in a lot of shops that just don't. That looks nice. Oh, we got a little air pocket right there at the bottom corner. Almost. Almost. There we go. Much better. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Nice. Let's go to the other side. Do you do PPF? While I was at my dad's shop, he had somebody come in, like one of our reps, and I learned a lot about PPF. But we never really successfully did a lot of PPF. I probably did in the neighborhood of like 20 jobs over the course of a handful of years, like front ends. And then we did like one full convertible Camaro, which thank God we didn't have to do the roof. It was just tedious. So, not fun. But it was kind of annoying because I could never focus on it. So if I had some more PPF jobs and I was strictly focusing more on PPF, I would like it a lot more than I do now. I like that window tint is faster turnover, kind of, until I heard E-Man, who is our trainer, talk a little bit about how efficient he is at doing front ends. So they'll charge like $2,500 to do full hood, full fenders, full bumper, and like maybe like your mirrors, right, and some pillars. He'll get that done in probably about like 5 hours. So when you're that efficient, all of a sudden PPF is awesome. I'm gonna like what? We charge $700 for ceramic, and that I would consider to be fairly expensive for a full ceramic tint. So like when you're that efficient and there's more money, like you're making more money. It's just getting to that point. But I did, I was with that mobile company for a while, eventually split off of the mobile company. I held on to a couple accounts, and then I was setting up a home garage to tint from there. I actually didn't intend on getting a shop. And then I got a shop when I started getting notices from the city saying to stop work from home, even though it was the middle of a pandemic. They're like, you can't run that kind of business out of out of your house. And I was like, damn. So we were making good money. It was basically our entire income. And we were doing great. There were days I was doing like 3 cars in a day right from home. You know, clearing over $1,000 just from a home garage is fucking awesome. I'm moving up north. Prices are outrageous. I'm losing money here. So it depends on the area. If you move to a nicer area, you'll have an easier time. And yeah, just wherever it's a little bit less saturated, you're gonna get more money. But there's still plenty of competition around here. There are places right down the street. I can go on their site. I can see what their pricing is. They're like under $200 for like a car. And when you have that in your backyard, it's like they'll be everywhere. I could either join them and just lower my prices a lot and try and do a lot more work, or I could keep them where they're at and try and compete in a different field. And I'd rather do that, but I love your videos and online store. Help me implement tinting into my business. Hell yeah. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, we gotta put some tape on the switches. So let's do that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and inspiring fellow tinters. Oh, you're welcome. I think a couple of things that I wish I knew more in the beginning that I learned later is like, and they make a lot more sense, is like your later on pricing can be established. Like when you're a new shop, you're like, oh, I'm a new shop, I should charge less. But when you charge less, you just attract cheaper people. So it just takes time to get good customers, or, you know, you also spend money on ads, and that's worth it because then you're funneling people to where you need them to go to find your business and information about it. Wow, I cut that just too small. Actually, it's not that bad. I should do a little bit longer. But window tinting is only so cool. Like it's nice to see a shop that really cares. But I'd say like your average customer with extra money to spend is only gonna care, like there's not as many as people that don't pay attention. So like if you're just charging more in a nicer area, you're just gonna get nicer cars and you're gonna get more nicer business. If you're charging expensive prices in a poorer area, there's just, you know, you gotta see how far away the nearest shop is and what they're charging. Generally, people are not gonna drive your average customer is not gonna drive too far out of their way if there's a better looking place closer to them. That's just how it is. So your location does matter. It doesn't mean you can't run a good tint business. We've made a lot of money out of poorer cities, but you need a good sales guy to do it. Okay, we're gonna pull this out. We're gonna check it outside. But this one looks like it's good to go. Ah, damn it. We should probably put his mirror back on. I even grabbed that screwdriver. I should have known. So we're gonna slot that back in. Sending my friend's 1990 Nissan Beater. A little tipsy, came out pretty good. Nice. A little tipsy. How many cars do you usually tint in a day? Hey, I got the key. We focus on doing 1 or 2 in a day right now. There it is. I was like, I know he's got one more thing. No giveaway? Maybe sometime. There we go. Do you ever mess up and start over? Oh yeah, for sure. We screwed up a quarter window on this one and had to start over that. Not a big window to screw up, but oh yeah, there's dozens of streams and dozens. Messed up plenty of windows. Had to redo stuff more than once in a row. And when you get to like 3 or 4 times, oh, come on. Can't we just pull this out now? Right there. At least it's easy. It was like right on the edge of starting up. We yapped for too long. I didn't notice. I left the key on while I was doing the back window. I should have not done that. Doesn't mean that's what... It definitely didn't help. I'll put it that way. Trickle charger time. Yes. I know. This used to happen all the time. Yeah, we leave the key on while we're tinting it, and it was just on for a little longer than what it should have been without the charger on it. So it's like it's right there on the edge of starting up.
All right, I gotcha.
It was like...
On the coldest day of the year we had this year,
Yeah.
my batteries in my diesel went.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't jump it. It wouldn't hold a charge with the old glow plugs. I didn't plug it in.
Oh, geez.
Every time the glow plugs, so I had to change one of them, and that frigid. I only changed one, just enough to get it started.
There we go. Now we good. Put that back on. Nice. All right, I'll get this backed out for ya. We can check it out outside. That's all screwed in. Reverse. It's a manual. Let's not stall it, huh? How many of you guys know how to drive a manual? My first car, first car that I bought from a dealership was a manual. I miss driving one from time to time. We're gonna put a neutral, put that back up. Yay!
Beautiful.
All right. I want to show, I'm live streaming it. I just want to show them really quick what it looks like too. That's a good shade. I think that's what you're going for.
It is. It is.
Not super dark.
Hey, bro, I'm worried. Kicking myself. Should I win 20? Should I win 20? No.
35. When you do the whole thing in 35, it's not going to be quite as dark as 20, obviously, but it's going to give you a good amount of shade without drawing too much attention.
When I bring my truck, that's exactly. I'm going to do the same thing.
All right.
Yeah. The front 2 windows, because the back, is already done from the factory.
Uh-huh. Yep. All right. Cool. Well, thank you so much for bringing it in.
No problem.
Take it easy.
Yep, you too.
Also helps that it's cloudy. Cloudy is going to make it look a little darker. But I think that's what he was going for. Co-host with creators. Interesting. See, wasn't YouTube do stuff like that?
My first 2 cars were a manual. 2012 Fiat 500.
My first 2 cars were a manual. 2012 Fiat 500.
Veloster spec that I got from a dealership.
Fiat 500. Ah, the Fiat 500. I remember those. You don't see them very much now.
That's a big tint shop, nice inside. What should I 3D print?
What should I 3D print? A squeegee handle, maybe? I don't know. They're cool. But the only practical thing for window tinting would probably be handles.
If I order some tools off your website, will they come by Monday?
If I order some tools from your website, will they come by Monday? Probably not. Might be Tuesday.
Everything.
They'll definitely ship today and travel over the weekend, so it'll be close. It'll probably be Tuesday.
I still have my Fiat and MIT J257 swap it. Smiley face. Here's a question that's been around. Is 50% worth it?
Is 50% worth it? I want to tint the actual benefits, but be legal.
Where I'm at. Orange Crusher, the new
Let me show you something quick. On front doors, not so much. On windshields, yes. So like if you did the full thing with the windshield, then yeah. So like this, keep in mind it's gonna look a little darker because it's like super overcast right now. But on the back, we have 20%. Which, this is what it looks like to see through it, right? So, not super dark. It always looks darker when it's closed up. This is 35 on the front. That's what it's like to see through. Nice. And then we've got 50 on the windshield here. So, easy to see through. But this is what it looks like on the front right now. So if you take away some of the cloud glare, which is here, it splits right at this line because this is like the building shadow, right? So I can see like steering wheel, I can see the screen, and then I could see somebody sitting there, but there's overcast and other reflections that like 50% is gonna kind of add some of that. So on a bright sunny day, you'll be able to see into the interior a lot easier. But I love 50 on the windshields. So if you did 50 on like the full windshield and the front sides, it'd make it a little bit more worth it. Time is it 2? Well, it didn't take too long. I'm planning on tinting all my windshields 5%. Is it hard? It'll be first time tinting. It'll be hard to see out of. Windshield is the hardest piece of glass to tint. Yes. For ceramic, true. Is it true that it's dark outside and clear inside? No. Oh, it's not true. So if we go into this cabinet, we have here, this is our 20% Pro Nano ceramic. So this is one side of it, right? And then this is the other side of it. It looks the same. So the reason why it's easier to see when you're inside the vehicle versus outside is because all your sunlight is outside of the vehicle. So when you close up all the doors, the inside is darker, making the illusion that it's darker. And then when you're looking through the glass, it's just easier to see through that way. So it doesn't matter what tint, what type of tint, so dyed, carbon, or ceramic, they're all gonna be easy to see through, just as long as you get nice quality versions of any of them. You can have cheap carbon that's really hazy. You can have poor dyed films that bubble and turn purple.
Orange Crusher, the triad you had in your hand for Squeegee.
Orange Crush or the Tri-Edge that you had in your hand? I like the, okay. Tier list of squeegees now. I've got, where's the yellow flat out? It was just here. Hang on. So we got hybrid, we got red line, we got fire, orange crush, flat out. I had it in a handle though. Oh, it's right here. Duh. Okay. So this would be like my squeegee tier list here. Some of these should be out of the squeegee handle too, because the squeegee handles don't really matter.
What does ceramic window?
Well, the squeegee handle does matter. Fusion's got the best squeegee handle. But to see some of the, couple of the fine differences, let me do this. Let me just take some of them out.
Chips on windshield like small dots. I can feel the chip from the outside only. Can I tint?
Because there's something I want to point out on the Tri-Edge one. And then the red line is a little different too. And then same thing for that. It's in a different handle. Okay, we got this. Okay, we only need one flat out. So we got flat out, red line,
folded hands. Please answer my question.
This.
Crying face.
Please answer my
What's the
question.
first and second stage squeegee setup?
Where did I put
Best
my...
website to get all the tools.
Did I put it back in the thing? No, I didn't. Yikes. That's not good. Where did I put my earpiece? I guess we'll turn you guys down for a minute.
Hey, Daddy.
Oh. Oh, we gotta use the remote. There we go. That's better. Please answer my questions. Couple chips in the windshield, like small dots. I can feel the chips from the outside. Can I tint? Yeah, if they're just small chips, you could tint over it. That'd be fine. Okay, so squeegee tier list here. This is my favorite. This is the Fusion Hybrid, and this is still my favorite. The material is different. So you see orange squeegee blade, orange squeegee. See how they're even different colors? They put this hex pattern in here too, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know what that does for the squeegee blade, but it's just a new pattern that they've done. But this is the hybrid, double-sided squeegee blade. This one's supposed to be a little bit firmer. This is supposed to be a little bit softer. Honestly, I can't even really tell a difference between them. This is just a really slick squeegee. And this is a poured, casted squeegee blade, meaning that they would have a big, long trough mold, and they would pour blue, and then they would pour orange, right? So, and then the material sets up. These are all injection molded squeegees, mean that material is pumped into a mold, and then that material cures very quickly, and then the mold pops open, squeegee blades pop out. You can kind of tell injection molded stuff because they'll have little injection spots in like the tools. So like Tri-Edge has these little points right here that the material goes into, fills, and then cures. The Blue Max and the Red Line are a little different. I don't think they're poured. I think these are extruded squeegee blades. These are a little different. So these are a little different even than, I'm pretty sure they're a little different than these ones. But the hybrid's my favorite material, and it only comes in one style. So it doesn't come in cropped. It only comes in this double-sided stuff, and they'll chop it off on the sides. And it's nice that they at least made it double-sided, because it's the most expensive squeegee blade out of it. I still love this material the most. This is my favorite squeegee blade. These have been around for a really long time. Orange Crush is one of the most popular window tint squeegees. You can see it's got a little like softness rating on it. This one's a little harder. This was a really, really popular one. And then this was basically a stiffer version of this. So if you've ever used this one and you like it, you're gonna like the flat out too. Flat out was my favorite for a long time. And then this is kind of I don't know where to put this on the list. A lot of people like the red line because it's just it's a smooth, more rigid style squeegee blade. This is supposed to basically mimic the Blue Max. So it's still got some flex to it, but it's generally just a little bit more of a rigid material. This I would describe as a little bit more of a rubbery material. And the hybrid is like kind of somewhere in between. But then Tri-Edge released this beautiful squeegee blade a little bit ago. And they finally dialed into the material where it is really, really good. Why are we always getting restrictions, TikTok? What you doing? Because we're talking about squeegee, is it blades? Do I say blades too much, TikTok? Maybe that's it. Maybe we can't say anything with sharp edges. But what's really cool about the squeegee blade is just how much detail is in this mold. So you notice like in the lettering, it's all glossy. That's 100% the mold. So they have this like really smooth matte finish, and then they have this really gloss backing for all the lettering, so that sticks out a little better. So this is all just like really pretty design, and then they split it, and then the rest of it underneath is all gloss, so that your squeegee blade's gonna slide a lot better. But this is a brand new squeegee blade from them. They're gonna be coming out with a few different versions, a few different hardnesses. So this is the medium one, and I don't know if these are the official colors on the rest of them. Where are we? But I've been sent all these ones like in the past. So like a really cool fuchsia, really not as big a fan as the red, but you know, the gloss versus this. Actually, the glossy side looks way more red than this side does. But and then this one, like I forgot what they called this one, like a coral orange, which looks really, really good. So I like what they're doing. Tri-Edge always has such a attention to detail on all their like products. So there's a few things I really, really like from them. We have that. So this squeegee blade now, the Tri-Edge cards, I've been using these forever. Really, really fine detail on the smoothness and the molds and the materials that they use. And then same thing for their, I wonder if we can find one over here, the pros cards. So if you've ever used like a hard card with like a felt strip on it, things go missing, man. And then we have the pink clean here. We can put up there too. Do we not have one? Oh yeah, this is like the Blue Max too. This is got like a similar, and it's got clay on it. It's got a similar like finish to it. Maybe we got them somewhere. Damn it, pros cards. I don't know. I'll have to look for it. That kind of sucks. They're usually like right there. But as far as like my favorite squeegees go, it looks something like this. This, and then this. So I was really curious on the pros blade versus the flat out, because these are really like, these are both injection molded squeegees. Pros is going to be a little bit wider, which is kind of nice. Better finish on it, and honestly I like the material better now than the flat out. So this kind of stacks up as just a different one. So it's like somewhere in here. If you like this one, you might not necessarily go for these. I don't know. This is just different material. And then the pink clean. This is one of my favorite cleaning blades, but this is for cleaning. This isn't for like final squeegeeing. So this is still one of like my favorite blades that's up there. So out of all these now, these are my go-tos. Best hard card for wet shrinking. Man, that goes into like the pros card. Wherever that went. We'll check in like the student bins. We got felt cards. We got student supplies. We got door panel covers. How did I misplace all my pros cards? Okay, I guess I'll grab one. Where is that? Is it in here and it was just hiding? Oh, it was in here. Son of a bitch. Okay, so this is the pros card too. I've been using this one for a while. Same type of thing. A lot of attention to detail on the cards on these ones, especially when they aren't worn out from a lot of use. I really, really like these cards. But this has a double suede buffer on it. So meaning it's got like a softer suede buffer. They do one on the inside and then one on the outside, so you get some sponginess. So it's similar to what a felt card does for shrinking. It's just felt cards are going to be softer. These are going to still have some flex, but they're going to be a little bit more rigid. Alrighty. Out of your tinting experience. Oh, when it comes to taking panels off, half or more than half. Very few. I only take a couple seals out. Like 99% of what I tint, I leave all the seals in. Have you ever used 3M cards? Yeah, like they're, I don't think I have an example here, but they had like they have a few different styles. They have the hard card and then they have the softer style cards, like the Lidco ones. Yeah, 3M hard cards are good. We have something a little bit, I'd say, nicer. So we've got these. We've got this one, and this one. So this is a better version of a hard card. This is by Pro Tools now. It's called the Smart Card. So the 3M cards will generally like this. And they come in a few different hardnesses. We carry these three. These are the most popular. So the black ones, the platinums, which is, I think, the same material as these, and then the gold ones. And they have varying flex. And all the pros cards, or Pro Tools Now cards, they really have really nice edges. So they're not all scratchy. Some cards, especially some cheap ones, can be really scratchy. The black ones are especially like slick. That's why it almost looks like greasy right now. These are good. They're just very unforgiving. So if you have a little speck of sand on your back window when you're shrinking it, this will catch that and rip right through the film. But people still really like hard cards. And so the Smart Card is just, it's a little bit wider and it's got a little bit of a grip to it. It'll essentially do the same thing, but these ones I think are better. Smart cards are nice once they get broken in. I don't feel like this really needs to get broken in much, but I don't use these regularly. They have two versions too. They have this one and then they have the black one. We have both. I think this one's a little softer though. Where do you get your tint and tools from? So we're a tool distributor. So we order direct from all the major tool companies. So we have like distributor accounts with all of them. And then same thing with GeoShield. Can you tint my glasses? Just get tinting ones. So transition. That's best. That's better than actual window tint on them. All right, I'm gonna sign off.